Hey everybody, I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can because my mom's in the shower right now and it's a little easier for me to do videos while she's in the shower. At least I hope she's in the shower right now. But anyway, you can see some links below in the description box and you can see the title below as well. It basically asks which cover is better, or which cover, besides the finalized cover for 247, would have been better. Would it have been option A or option B? Option B, of course, was drawn after option A. Of course, as you can see with option B, you have Sally, Mecha Sally in the middle, and you have it kind of like split into six, kind of like have this like light or these robotic things, whatever they are. This is say Doc Ock kind of things in the background, dividing with different divided pictures. Like you have Robotnik on one side, you have Snively, you have Sonic, you have Silver, you have Eliza's, Amy and Tails, you know, something like that. And then of course the other you have. And then of course the other you have Sally on top like this, you have Sonic and Silver here, and you have Amy here, and you have Tails here. So the question is, which one do you think would have been better? Because a lot of people, believe it or not, at the forums have been looking at the original design, or at least one of them anyway, the one that's above, the one that's option A, and say that would have been better to use, basically saying that blows what the original cover has out of the water, or what the finalized cover is out of the water. And they say similar to the other one. Now, of course, there are some critics saying, well, it's okay, but it's got too much crunched up kind of stuff. But the majority of people that actually enjoy these alternate covers. Now, Lamar Wells, Trunks24 and DeviantArt, said that basically he commented, he wasn't in the description of the first one. He says he wasn't really too happy with it at first. They was going to try to fix it, and a lot of people said, hey, there's nothing wrong with this. Go ahead and use it, or you should keep it the way it is. Heck, I enjoyed it when I first saw it. I didn't even know at the time that it was supposed to be originally one of his alternate covers for 247. But now the question is, everybody wants to know, why wasn't it used? Why wasn't this cover used, or one of these covers used, or at least the option A cover used, instead of what we got now for the finalized cover? Well, I'll tell you why. Just my honest opinion. I'll probably type this up or whatever, type this up over at on some of the forums. But basically, Sally, the first one makes her look threatening. There's no doubt about it. And the second one has her right in the middle, makes her look threatening too. But here's the thing. Again, it has to go. Again, you got to go back to Sega on this one. I know people don't like hearing that, but it's the truth. You got to go back to Sega on this one. The reason I say that, folks, is real simple. See, Sega basically does have the final say, whether we like it or not. So what they say goes. So if they say, okay, we want this cover instead of this cover, then they're going to get it. And Archie Comics probably had some say in it too, but you get what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure the person that okayed Lamar's drawings to be used as covers or future artwork was like, okay, go for it kind of deal. I think in a sense they, along with Sega, if not more so, kind of like a 50-50, I think basically 50-50 on both sides, basically said, hey, this is a great cover, but we can't use it. And here's why. Because they gotta heed to Sega, they gotta abide to Sega, whether we like it or not, and whether they like it or not. Basically, by abiding to what Sega wants, they basically say we gotta have a cover that doesn't show Sally as a threatening force. Because even though option A, the first cover that you click on, is great, the thing is, it's more along the lines of it makes Sally look more dominant. makes it look like a powerhouse, more threatening than even Robotnik. And you got to remember, you can't. If you're Archie Comics, you can't make this guy up here any less threatening than what he already is. You can't do that. I mean, you can't make him look any less threatening than he is. Even though, as some people say, he's portrayed as a doofus or a goof or whatever you want to call him, you cannot portray him as he is. Because if you portray him as being less of a threat than, let's say, Mecha Sally, then you're going against the grain. It's kind of like with Sonic. He's kind of like in that same category. You can't do certain things with Sonic. You can't make him look weak. You can't make him look defeated that long. You know, etc., 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 la-di-da-di-da. The same with Eggman Robotnik. You cannot make another character look as threatening or more threatening than him. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, they did it with the Iron Dominion. This is true. They have done similar things with the Iron Dominion, but the thing was, Sally was still herself at that time. She wasn't a slave. She wasn't a mechanized slave of Robotnik's. And if you have Robotnik, Eggman involved, you cannot allow that character, your main villain, to be overshadowed. There was a reason they let him be overshadowed during the Iron Dominion arc, because they wanted to establish, at least Ian Flynn was allowed to establish, that there were other major villains out there besides Eggman. But, of course, Sega comes in and says, okay, you've had your fun, now you got to get back to basics, and that's what's happened. And I'm pretty sure as they got back to basics, they said, okay, we allowed you to do that, but now you got to focus on Eggman being the main threat, and you can't make anybody look more threatening than him. That is why I think the reason for the change. Not just because Lamar personally didn't like it. I think it's more along the lines of both the people at Archie, like Paul Kaminsky and whoever else, and probably those at Sega, like the Sega representatives there, probably said, hey, it's a great cover, but you're making her look more threatening and more dominant and more of a powerhouse than Eggman Robotnik. You need to go in another direction. And I'm pretty sure he showed the other cover and they said, well, that's good too, but it's, you know, that's good too and everything, but we want something more simplistic, because still you have Sally in the middle and it makes her look like the main, well, she is the main focus, but it looks like she's the main threat. Yeah, you have Robotnik in a big spot above her, but basically you have her like sort of in the middle being the main threat. So that's why, my opinion, they did the change of covers. Not just because Lamar Wells Trunks 24 didn't like it or anybody else didn't like it. It's mainly because you can't have someone like Mecha Sally look like the main threat, especially with A cover or B cover. And that's why they did what they did. Now I know you're thinking, well, she's still sort of like front and center. Yeah, but they added in something else. I mean, basically this is what they probably said. They said, well, yeah, these are great covers, but how is a Princess in Peril, a world in crisis, a Princess in Peril going to look compared to that? You know, written right next to that. How's that going to look? You know, just saying. But the point I'm trying to make is, despite how good these are, and they might get publication as alternate covers that would have been, like variant covers, or Viant covers, if you will. The thing is, in my honest opinion, it's because Sega, just like with Sonic, doesn't want the main villain towards Sonic being overshadowed. And that is why the change in covers. So that's why 247's cover changed multiple times. So comment down below, video response if you like. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll talk to y'all later.